Hi everyone, welcome to Jawaras. Let's continue building authorization server. In the previous video, we handled the deny request. So when user clicks on deny button, he is redirected back to the redirect URI with some error code and error description. But if he clicks on allow button, so there is nothing, there is no endpoint to handle this request. So we need to handle that now. I will go to authorization controller and here I will create another get mapping. Let's do that. Instead of handle deny, I will just call it handle hello, and this will be hello. So we have realm ID, we have auth request ID, we have model, and we have HTTP servlet request. So few things will remain the same. First, we will get the auth request ID. Then we need to get the logged in user, so whether the user is actually logged in or not. So user will be this dot user service dot get logged in user, and we can just pass the request session and realm ID here. So do we have realm ID? Yes, we have realm ID. So I will pass that here. So we will get the user. If we don't find any user, if the session has expired, we will catch it here. So here we will just do this thing again. So I will just copy it and I will paste it here. So if we don't find any user, if the user session is not active for the current realm, then we will redirect the user back to the login page. Now since user is logged in, let's generate the authorization code. So what I will do is string code will be this dot authorization service dot allow auth request, and we will pass two things here. The first thing is auth request and the second thing is the user itself. So let's create this method. Now what this method should do is this method should create one authorization code which this application will send back to the client application. Now whenever we create authorization code, the authorization code is generally short lived, so its life is usually like at most at max 1 minutes, and most of the authorization codes has expiration date of like let's say 30 seconds. So after 30 seconds they will expire. So you can approach this in two ways. Either you can store this authorization code in a database and send the key to the client application, and while requesting for the access token, the client application will send back you the key. So the key means the authorization code, and with that key you can look up in the database and you can get the relevant information like the realm ID, client ID, username, and state, these parameters. So that is the first approach. The second approach is, since it is short lived, we need to store it for let's say 30 seconds. Then what we can do is we can create just one simple Java object of it, and then we can encrypt that object and send that string to the user. So we will use the second approach here. So let's do that. So for that we need to create a Java object here. So in the authorization, I will create a new Java class. So this will be a record and let's call it authorization code. So this is authorization code. This needs to take few things. The first is realm ID. The second is redirect URI. Redirect URI. The third, the third is the state, and the fourth is username. So whenever we request for access token using this code, then we have all the necessary information. So all the information to generate the access token is inside this authorization code. And since we will encrypt it, no one will be able to see what information does this authorization code contains. only our application will be able to see this information. Now let's create one more thing here. uh, I will say local date time expired set. So this is the expiry time. Now let's create static method here, public static authorization code, and let's just say code here, and it will take these things: string realm id, string redirect URI, string state, and then string username. Now let's return new authorization code. So now since this will expire after 30 seconds, so we can say plus seconds 30. So this is the expiration time. Let's say this authorization code will have some ID as well. So we can say string ID. And now this ID should be randomly generated. So and we already have a util class called strings, which has one method to generate random string. So we can use that method here to generate the ID. So since after this expire date, we can just say strings dot generate random string, and let's say the random string will be of length 32. So this is the ID of the authorization code. Now since we need to send this authorization code by encrypting it. In order to encrypt it, we need to convert it into a string. So what I will do is I will put all these parameters, and I will add some uh, uh, separator between all these fields. So let's do that. So I will just override toString method, and I will do this. So don't we have client ID here? Yeah, one thing we did wrong here is that we don't need state. So let's make it client ID. Because state is only used when we redirect the user back to the client application. So now here as well I will just make it client ID and client ID. So we have realm ID, redirect URI, client ID, username. So what I will do is let me, okay, yeah, it is fine. So yeah, let me put client ID before redirect URI. So I will just cut it and I will paste it here. So realm ID, client ID, redirect URI, username, expired set, and ID. So realm ID, and this will be client ID, redirect username. Okay. So realm ID, client ID, redirect URI. So let's say redirect URI. So this is a we will create a string. So we will have realm ID, client ID, redirect URI, username, expired set, and this ID. So okay. Now when we have a string, we need to convert that back to the authorization code. So I will just create one method here, public static authorization code auth code from string, and we will give it one string. So it will split the string with this separator, and then it will construct the authorization code. So this is just the reverse of this toString method. So now we are here. So we have everything we need in authorization code. Now let's go to authorization service. Here, first of all, we need to create the authorization code. So let's do that. Authorization code. Authorization code will be authorization code dot code, and it takes few things. First is realm ID. So auth request dot realm ID, then client ID, auth request dot client ID, then redirect URI, auth request dot redirect URI, then username. So user dot get username. Okay, nothing else. It will automatically create the expired set and ID. Now we have authorization code. Now we need to convert this authorization code into string. Now I have authorization code, so I will just encode the authorization code and return it. So I'll just say return encode authorization code and authorization code, and I will return it. So let's create this method. So what this method will do is this first it will convert this authorization code to the string. So let's search a string. Code will be authorization code dot to string, and after that it will encrypt it. Now how to encrypt this authorization code is will not be covered in this video, so I will not cover that. And you can search for it online that how to do simple encryption, but I will just paste the code here. So this is the code. Now what I want to do is I want to encrypt the code, and then I want to convert that to base 64 string and then return that to the client application. Encrypt code with this code here. So let's create this method here. Now I will pause recording for some time and I will paste all the code required for encryption and decryption here. I have copied the code here to encrypt the string and to decrypt the string. So here this encrypt code takes one string. We are calling it a code. So it needs something called IV parameter spec, and we are creating a byte array of 16 bytes, and the value of all the bytes is 0. And then we are converting the string into bytes. Then I have created one AES util file, and we are generating a key using this string. So this I have in application.properties file here. Okay, after that, so after encrypting it, so once we encrypt it using AES util, we are converting it into base 64 encoded string. So now whenever we need to decrypt the code, first of all, since we know that the bytes are base 64 encoded, so we need to decode using base 64, and after that using the same secret key and same IV parameter spec, we need to decrypt it using AES util. And after that we will just convert the bytes to string and we will return it. So we will get the decrypt code, and after decrypting it we will just convert this string into authorization code using this method which we have created in the authorization code record. Okay, so and we are returning this encoded code to the controller. Now here in controller we have the code, we have the state as well. So because that is in auth request, so let's put both of these inside the model. So we have put code here, and then let's put state as well. So I will say state, and state will be auth request dot state, and let's return a new model and view. So we will redirect, but not to this URL. We will redirect to sign in redirect URI, which is inside auth request. Auth request dot redirect URI and model dot as map. So let's restart the application. The application has been restarted. Let's copy this URL here, copy it, and I will paste it here. It's asking us to log in. So let's log in with user1 and pass1, and let's first click on deny, or here let's open that in new tab. Here also it is asking us to either allow or deny. So let's click on deny here. So it has been denied, and if I again go here, since the session is all active, so we are being redirected to the authorization interface instead of going through the login page. Let's click on allow. Now you can see we are being redirected to the redirect URI. Okay, let's copy this and see what do we have. So we have called this is the code. And okay, we don't have any state because if you see in this auth URL, we did not pass any state. So let's pass some state. So let's say accounts, and authorization server doesn't need don't care what the state represents. It just needs to send it back to the client. Now we need to log in because our session has been expired because it's been more than 1 minute. Click on allow. Now I will copy it and I will paste it here. Now we can see we are sending back the state as well in the query parameters of sign in redirect URI. So we are sending the authorization code. So that is it for this video. In this video we have seen how to create the authorization code and how to encrypt it and how to send it back along with the state query parameter. Now in the next video we will send this authorization code to the authorization server from client application, and then the authorization server will generate one access token and it will send that access token back to the client application. That's it for this video. Thank you everyone for watching it. I will meet you in the next one. Until then, bye.